Yoha! Welcome again to JQ's Reviews. I'm Jared, and today I will be reviewing Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. Short, Pirates 5, because that's a mouthful. I'm not going to be able to say that every time. So, I went and saw Pirates of the Caribbean this past weekend, opening night actually. I went for the Thursday night late viewing, and I was so excited to go in and see this movie. I'm a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan. Well, I wouldn't say big, maybe. I do own all the movies, and they're a series that I remember loving when I was younger. I definitely really liked them when I was younger, but there's been, between 3 and 4, there was, I think, like a 4-year gap, and then between 4 and 5, there's been 6 years, so it's kind of hard to remember how much I used to like them. So I actually was going back and I was rewatching them recently. I still have to watch 3 and 4. I didn't get the time to rewatch these, 3-hour movies before the new one came out. I was really excited for Pirates of the Caribbean 5. I was looking forward to it. I watched the trailer. I was watching the trailer almost every day just because I thought it was a great trailer. I thought it was well done. I thought it was showing us exactly what the movie was about. We were seeing a return to form to Pirates of the Caribbean because number 4 was not too well received. Personally, I kind of I remember liking it, but that was also 6 years ago. Maybe my tastes have changed. So I was ecstatic to see this movie. I really was. I was looking forward to it. It just seemed they were going back to the ghost type pirates. They had Will Turner was going to return. Elizabeth Swann was going to return. They showed that Will Turner's son was going to be a main role in it. And I thought that was a great idea. I thought that was, the story was coming full circle. Jack has teamed up with Will's father originally. He teamed up with Will in Pirates of the Caribbean 1 throughout 3. And then this just really felt like the world had aged. Now he is teaming up with Will Turner's son and this new character, Karina Smythe. So I was really excited for this. I thought, once again, it was return to form. It was going back to what made the original so good. And the directors had said that they went back and they looked at the original, and that's what inspired them for number 5. And I am completely disappointed. I am very disappointed. I don't really see how it was returned to number 1, what the inspiration was. I mean, yes, there were ghost pirates again. Instead of skeletons, they were actually ghosts. But past that, it was not like the original. It just wasn't. And I don't know what they were thinking when they said that. So I'm going to get into a few little spoilers. I mean, they're not little, they're pretty major. This won't be as long as my last review, just because I don't want to be negative, honestly. I really do like this series. Even, I know 2 and 3 and 4, they don't have the best reviews, but I think they're fun. I think they're enjoyable. I kind of like when they get convoluted to an extent. It just makes them a little bit different. A lot happens, and I think they're just an exciting, fun time. This 5th one, I think this was a really low point, and it just stinks. I don't want to talk about these things. I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to doing the review and saying how good it was, how much I like Pirates of the Caribbean, and unfortunately, I can't, if I'm being honest. And probably my biggest overall complaint, well, it's one of 2, but it's Jack Sparrow. They've turned him completely into a caricature. He's no longer the character of Jack Sparrow. He is these few little things that we liked about the character. His goofiness, how funny he could be, his mannerisms. But it doesn't have any of the extra character in it. And I don't know if it's direction. I don't know if Johnny Depp just wants a paycheck. It's probably a little bit of both. But, if we go back to the original Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp was nominated for Best Actor that year. That's not something to, just brush off. He was nominated for Best Actor in an action-adventure movie. That's pretty cool. And it was because Johnny Depp brought a lot of life to that character. He brought depth to the character. He wasn't just a goofy pirate. He wasn't just a lucky son of a gun. He had more to him than that. Deep down, he was a good man. And that's what they kept on hammering home. They kept on showing you in little bits and pieces was he didn't want to shoot Will Turner in the blacksmith shop. And it goes past not even just because that one bullet was being saved for Barbossa. It was because he is a good man. He didn't want to kill someone he didn't have to kill or who did nothing wrong. he did jump in the water to save Elizabeth from drowning. He didn't have to do that. And he obviously he helped Will in the end. They stop Barbossa. They break the curse, and Will in return saves him. And even going to the third movie, I mean the second one, and I should go back. The second one, we get those points where is Jack gonna betray them? It is in his best interest to betray them. And they have a great moment in that movie where he looks at his compass that points to what you most want, and it points to the people, to his friends that he needs to go back and save, and he goes back and he helps them. They basically just abandoned that for this new movie. I mean, he was nothing but a goof, and I love Jack Sparrow being goofy. I do. I think that's hilarious. I like him being lucky getting out of these scrapes, but I need his character. I need that base to be there. I need him. I just need him to be more fully fleshed out than just the funny moments, because the funny moments make him great because we see that depth to him at points, and we see him being smart in these first movies. I mean, in the first movie, they have a great moment where he's in the jail cell and one of the pirates from Barbossa's ship comes in, and he reaches in to grab Jack, and he has a skeleton arm in the moonlight, and Jack says, "Oh, well, that's interesting," because even though Jack seems like he's drunk all the time, seems like he's not paying attention, he's constantly thinking. The gears are constantly turning for this clever person. So he's constantly trying to think of the next step. What is he going to do next? And we didn't see any of that in this movie. We didn't see any of that cleverness. He was just a goof through and through, and he didn't really seem to care about his pirate friends like Mr. Gibbs. He kept on telling them that they owed him money for helping him. They come in and they save him at one point, and he goes, "Oh, you owe me for this." And it was just weird, and it would have been it could have been kind of funny, but even Mr. Gibbs seemed like he was fooled by this, apparently. Like, he actually, well, not even fooled, he just believed that Jack felt that they owed him money for helping them. That's really not how that relationship works. They are friends. They are shipmates. And it just seemed like that was abandoned. It just seemed, these are just some goofy people that happen to help each other out, and I was really disappointed with that. They had another moment where Henry Turner, Will Turner, and Elizabeth Swann's son comes in to see Jack in the jail cell. I guess that's another similarity to the first one. He sees him in a jail cell, and he tells Jack, "I'm the son of Elizabeth and Will," and Jack gets scared and goes, "Oh, you're the spawn of those two?" And I laughed. It was kind of funny, because upon seeing the movie for the first time, I assumed, well, they're going to go back to that. And they never did. They never really delved into the relationship. What is Jack's relationship with Will Turner's son? They were good friends. Jack's kind of somehow constantly being wrapped up in this Turner family. He knew Bootstrap Bill, he knew Will Turner, and now he knows Henry Turner. And I really thought that would have been a cool thing to go into, to talk about that relationship. What has changed? What is different? I assumed going into the movie that maybe almost like a mentor relationship he would have with Will's son. He would feel the need to protect Will's son because Will's not there to protect him himself. He's cursed to ride the Dutchman for all eternity. And that to me was really upsetting. That was disappointing. I wanted to see a connection between those two characters. I wanted, Henry to ask about Will. I wanted him to ask, what was my father like? I wanted him and I wanted there to be some sort of nostalgia to the old movies, to the fact that Jack and Will went on these adventures together. And we didn't get that, and I find that so disappointing. I think that's just a complete missed opportunity. I don't really understand why they didn't go into this. Taking a step back from Jack for a little bit, I guess, my other complaint is the lack of finesse to these movies. The lack of this new one, I should say. The lack of it just seemed almost rushed. The pacing didn't seem right. It didn't seem like the old movie. It didn't feel like them. The colors, the way they shot the movie was different. It was a lot darker than the previous movies were. Obviously they have their dark moments at nighttime when you're showing the monsters or whatever, but this movie just felt like there was a dark filter over it, and I didn't like that. They should be brighter in the daytime, darker at nighttime. That's fine. The world itself just seemed a lot less intelligent. Even with the normal townspeople, they just all seemed they seemed off almost, and it just seemed like the directors, the writers, they just were going for the laughs that the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are known for. But once again, the laughs don't hold up if you don't have the story behind it. They don't hold up and I'm not saying that these movies are fantastic stories, but their adventure, their action, their swashbuckling movies, but there is a level of seriousness to them. And if you take away that seriousness, it doesn't feel right. It's not as good. They kept on accusing Karina Smythe, the new lead heroine to the movie, they kept on accusing her of witchcraft. And it didn't feel right. Because it would have made sense if, maybe if she knew chemistry. I don't know if she was like mixing different types of chemicals together to make stuff. I don't know what would have made that more believable. But the reason they were calling her a witch is because she was a smart girl. And I felt that was just thrown in my face. I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that. I don't think it was because they were good at astronomy that, they were accused of being witches. She was an astronomist, and she knew about maps and times. Like, she knew all the different time zones and where the sun set and everything. And to me, that's stuff that they would have known about. They would have understood that, especially being sailors. They would have thought, like, okay, well, the sun's setting, here, there. They would have been aware of these types of things. And this Karina Smythe, she even goes into an astrologist's, his what would you call it? His lab, I guess, with his telescope. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. But she goes in there and he keeps on accusing her. You're a witch. You're a witch. And she's like, oh, well, no, I need to see this star and this moon and yada yada. And he goes, you're a witch. I'm like, well, no, she's not. She's clearly an astrologist like you. Like, she's doing all the things that you know how to do yourself. And I just thought why would you do that? If you wanted to sit there and have a story about a woman being, not treated right, he could have just sat there and said, he could have just got angry with her. He could have just said, get out of here, you're a woman, you're not allowed to do these things, you clearly aren't as, well-to-do as a man. He could have gotten jealous over the fact that she knew something that he didn't. Instead, it was just put across as like a joke, like, oh, she must be a witch. And I thought that was dumb. I didn't like that at all. And I thought that her storyline, her arc being a scientist, being someone of reason, and going on this adventure and seeing ghosts, and going after the Trident of Poseidon to take control of the seas, I don't know what they could have done, to be fair. I don't know what they could have done to make me believe that more, but I wish something would have been done a little bit more to show that conflict between the scientist and her, and then seeing these fantastical things. I wish there could have been a little bit more of a conflict there. Maybe her trying to reason it out a little bit more, instead of her just kind of believing it out. And, she kind of just flips sides, like she just believes it now. And I would have liked a little bit more of her resisting that. The next part I'd like to talk about, actually, would be Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem? I think I'm pronouncing his name wrong. But he was a part that I did like him in the movie. I thought he was a good villain. He was a good rival for Jack. But once again, I don't know if it's because he was a ghost, so it was harder to fight him, because he didn't really come into conflict with Jack too many times. But I would have liked to see more of him. I would have liked to see him fight with Jack more. Maybe it was because he was too unbeatable. Since he was a ghost, he didn't at least have... He was like a skeleton, where at least, they could knock them away. They could at least kick the skeletons away and escape. And once again, when him and Jack did interact, it was all the goofy Jack. It was just all Jack going, ah! Screaming, getting scared, dodging away. I would have liked to see Jack a little bit braver, a little bit, coming into conflict with him a little bit more. And I know Jack likes to run. He doesn't really like to fight. It's just, I don't know, it's just something I would have liked to see more of, though. And I think it's because everything else in this movie was lacking. I feel like if everything else would have been where I wanted it to be, then the lack of conflict or the lack of interactions between Jack and Captain Salazar wouldn't have been so much of a burden on this movie. I guess another part I could talk about really quick is I was under the impression Will Turner was going to be in the movie a lot more than he was. He was only in it for a couple minutes, which in hindsight, it does really make sense. It fits in this movie. It's just, they made such a big deal about saying, Orlando Bloom's back, Orlando Bloom's back. I thought he was going to have a much more major role. I thought he was going to have more interactions with his son instead of just, 1 minute in the beginning, 1 minute at the end. I thought it would have been a lot more, and I'm disappointed for that. I'm disappointed in that. And once again, it makes sense that's something that's hard to fault them for. It makes sense that Will isn't in this movie a lot. It's just, it would have been nice to not have that thrown in my face during advertisement then. So this side story with the Englishmen, they were trying to go get the Trident, and they weren't able to. They get killed right off, really quick. It was stupid. It was just a waste of time. The character, the new witch lady, She didn't really make sense. Her power was apparently to just get Jack Sparrow's compass out of nowhere from a bar randomly. That was stupid. She wasn't really utilized. My assumption is she's just kind of going to be a rehash of Calypso from 2 and 3, which isn't a good idea. I don't like that, just rehashing the characters. My last major complaint is the handling of Captain Barbossa in this movie. Now, Captain Barbossa was a great character in all these movies. He's been in all of them, and he really is a centerpiece of this franchise. He's really a big part of it. It was very disappointing to see his character handled so poorly. They have a big reveal that he is Karina Smythe's father. I like the idea of that because I did not see that coming at all. I loved the idea that, he has a long lost daughter, but at the same time, it wasn't done right. They didn't have the timeline match up because Jack Sparrow knows about it. They make it appear that Jack Sparrow and Barbossa were on good terms when he had this daughter, and he left her at an orphanage. But Jack Sparrow and Barbossa have not been on good terms since probably 10 years prior to the start of Pirates of the Caribbean 1. So that would make Karina Smythe the same age as probably Will Smith and Elizabeth Turner. What? That doesn't make sense. She's she's the love interest for Henry. And, not to say she's just a love interest for Henry, but clearly she's not in her 30s. That's very obvious, guys. So that was disappointing. I don't understand why they didn't make sure that timeline matched up. For the handling of Barbossa, he dies at the end. He saves Karina. He, tells her, or she, they're climbing up the anchor or whatever to get away from Captain Salazar, and he's coming after them. And Barbossa, he goes to stop him, and Karina asks him, what am I to you? And he tells her, treasure, which was a nice callback to the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie where Jack Sparrow tells Will Turner, not all treasure is silver and gold, mate. Barbossa tells her, you are treasure to me. He jumps down to his death. He takes Salazar with him, and they both fall to their deaths, thus ending the story of Barbossa. But it felt like they told me why to care that these two were, estranged, father and daughter. They were telling me, oh, you should care, rather than showing me. I didn't like that. I want them to show me with, the dialogue in the movie, with the actors, with everything else. I want them to really show me why I should care about Barbossa's death, why he, his kind of act of redemption in a way for his daughter. Because the reason he left her on the orphanage with the notes to be an astronomer was because he wanted her to be better than a pirate. He wanted to be better than him. So it just could have been a really cool. It just wasn't what it should have been. It wasn't that emotional punch that it should have been. I should have been tearing up at Barbossa's death, and I wasn't. I'm a crier. Let's be honest. I would have teared up if they had done it right. I remember being a kid and seeing Dead Man's Chest for the first time, and I remember my friend. She told me before we saw it, she'd already seen it, and then I was watching with her, and she said, you're going to be so surprised at the ending. This ending is going to be awesome. It's going to blow your mind. And I remember thinking, no way, it's not going to. Nothing can happen in this movie that really, blows my mind. And then at that end scene where Calypso tells, Elizabeth and Will and Gibbs and all of them, and she says, would you journey to World's End to save Witty Jack? If you do that, you're going to need a captain who's sailed those shores before. And then, you hear the footsteps coming down the stairs. You see everyone's reaction, and they show Barbossa, even though he died in the first movie, he's back to life, and he says, now what's become of my ship? And he takes that green apple he tried to give Elizabeth in the first movie, he takes a big bite out of it, and it gave me goosebumps rewatching it recently. It reminded me of, when I was a kid, when I first saw that, when my jaw hit the floor in surprise, and I really would have liked that feeling again at Barbossa's death. I really would have liked to feel, this is it for him, that's the end of the line, the character's story arc is complete. It's gone full circle. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that emotional punch that I feel the character so rightfully deserved. And personally, I don't understand why they didn't draw this storyline out. They obviously want to make a 6th movie. There's a post-credits scene I'll talk about. But maybe it's because they're not sure if they'll have scheduling conflicts again. Maybe they're not sure if Johnny Depp will want to do it. Maybe they don't know if maybe Jeffrey Rush doesn't want to do it anymore. He plays Barbossa. He's an older actor. Maybe these action adventure movies are too much for him. But anyway, I would have liked to see them drag out this relationship. have this whole movie go through, Barbossa live, not tell Karina that he's her father, and then we could have been looking forward to that for the next movie. We could have thought, is she going to find out? What's going to happen? And that would have been awesome. That would have been a great story arc for her and Barbossa to go through together. And they didn't do it. I'm just so disappointed. I really am. That's really the kind of like my thoughts on this movie is just I'm just disappointed. I feel like every opportunity they had to make it good, to really make it emotional and make it similar to what they used to be. It's just they just didn't take those opportunities. And even for the ending, they break all curses at sea. Henry and Will are able to go back up on shore, and they show Elizabeth Swann come out, and they hug and they kiss, and it's all great. And I'm so glad they put them back together, because that's one of my big complaints of the third one. Or not so much a complaint, but it was something that I didn't like when I was little. And when I say when I was little, when I was younger, I was a freshman in high school, but when I was younger, but I really liked that they finally put them back together. That was kind of what the first few movies were about Will and Elizabeth being together. So I'm glad they did that. But then once again, they kind of ruined it, because they had Jack Sparrow off on his ship with a telescope, and he goes like, ugh, what a disgusting display when he sees them kiss. And I thought, that's not Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow wanted them to be together. He sat there and said, told Will in the first movie, you need to find yourself a girl, mate. And when he was in the jail, he said, oh, so it is a girl. Once again, he told Will, you're a pirate because you sprung a man from jail, you stole a ship, and you're completely obsessed with treasure, referring to Elizabeth. I just don't know why they took Jack Sparrow in this weird direction. They made him nothing but like a goof, but the character, all the funny moments, and that's not who Jack is. He's a deep character. He has dreams. He has aspirations. He has a dream to sail the sea forever, to continue to go towards the horizon and never reach it. But yet he somehow always goes back and helps Will and Elizabeth. He always does these things for these people that he cares about. So why they took a deep character, an emotional character like that, and reduced him to just all jokes and laughs, I don't know. And it's so disappointing. It really is. I'm really disappointed in the way they handled this. If they want to have Jack be on the shore, or Jack say something, make a comment like, oh, I'm sure you two will be happy, being locked away together forever or something, make some sort of little joke and have Will and Elizabeth acknowledge that he doesn't mean it. That's just his posturing, who he is, that he's not going to come out and tell you how he feels. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But don't just, if I were just to watch this movie, I would assume Jack Sparrow doesn't care about Mr. Gibbs and his crewmates. He didn't care about Henry. He didn't care about Will and Elizabeth. And to me, that's not who Jack is. And if that's who Jack is to these directors and writers, then they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the character, to be completely frank. I will say that I am kind of looking forward to a sixth movie, just because of the cliffhanger at the end. After the credits rolled, they had a post-credit scene, Will and Elizabeth sleeping in their bed at peace, and you hear this, this knocking, these footsteps, the door opens, you see a shadow. And I was starting to guess character after character, just rattling them off, and realized right before it happened, it was like, oh, this is who it is for sure. And then I saw the claw hand raise up. And so basically, I'm getting excited, but the cliffhanger is that after breaking all the curses at sea, that Davy Jones, the villain from the 2 and 3, is coming back. And I'm super excited for that. I really am. I am a little bit apprehensive about it. He was already the villain for kind of like the villain for 2 movies. So, do we really need him the villain for a 3rd movie? Granted, it has been now 2 movies since him, but are they just rehashing old ideas? Are they just kind of throwing it back at us the same things over and over again? I don't know. Hopefully it's done well. Hopefully it's cool. I would love for it to be good. Well, if they handle it like this one, it won't be good. It'll be bad. And I'll be disappointed again. And really, I do think that this movie leaves a bad taste in my mouth about the Pirates franchise. And I really hope they come back with a 6th movie and they just knock it out of the park. I really do. I would love to have actually a good taste in my mouth from the Pirates movies ending. Granted, it does stink that Barbossa won't be there. I think he should have been in the final movie, and I think that could have been a death that made us feel like this is the end of Pirates. A major character has died off. We have that, all our main heroes live, but a character that we do really care about died. And that's what it should have been. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if it's just they don't know if the sixth one will be made, but I I don't know. That essentially describes I hope it happens and I hope it's good, but essentially my feelings towards this movie was disappointment. And I wanted to come here and I wanted to do a review that where I said that I loved it, that it was a return to form, that it was so good. I love these movies. I wanted to talk about that. And I'm disappointed that I couldn't because I have to be honest. And I don't think this was a great sequel. I don't think this was really even a good sequel. It it works as a movie on its own. It works to fine enough, but it's not Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's not what Pirates of the Caribbean has been. It's not what Pirates of the Caribbean should be. Thank you for watching. Please write and comment on the video, like and subscribe. Tell us if you like Pirates of the Caribbean 5. If you did, why did you like it? If you didn't, why didn't you like it? Do you hope there's a sixth movie? Do you think they could, make a better one? Tell me, let me know. If you have any other ideas for movies we could review, let us know about that too. And I am actually really excited. I'm very happy to announce that we will be doing a review for Wonder Woman. I'm excited. We were waiting for reviews to come in because we thought, if it's just another bad DC movie, we're not going to bother. We don't want to just be super negative. But it's gotten really good reviews, so I'm so excited. Finally a good DC movie after the Nolan trilogy that is good. And if there was a DC hero and a movie that needed to be good, it was Wonder Woman. We need that good female-led, action hero movie, superheroine film, whatever you want to say. We need that. We really do. So I'm so excited that it looks like it's going to be good. So tune back in next week for that. And until then, arg, don't know, but bye bye.